Today I wanted to cover, I came across this cool effect on this shoe site where you hover on the card and then it changes the picture and then it shows the button. I just thought it was a neat way to show like a hover effect as opposed to like changing the background color or changing the transform on it or something. So I just want to recreate this effect and we're going to try to do that today. Okay, so now we're in an empty directory here and we're just going to create a index.html and a style.css. Is that two S's? No, I only put one S. Okay. And now we have those, and then we'll open up VS Code. Really quickly, I'm going to steal these pictures just so I can use them. Here we go. I actually, full disclosure, I did actually build this yesterday, but it turns out I wasn't recording, so I'm redoing it today, but it looks like they have it so basically this image with the two shoes is above the image with the one shoes, but it has an opacity on it, so it's completely transparent. And then when you hover, that opacity comes back in and it covers the other image. So we'll do something similar. We got that. Let's go ahead and just pop these in real quick. So we'll go HTML5, and then we're gonna have a div, not a div, a div. And then inside here, we're gonna have an image with the source of what I just grabbed there. And then also just to keep track of these, I'm gonna give these alt tags of, this one's gonna be 2 shoes. If it was a production site, you'd probably wanna put something a little more descriptive than 2 shoes. There we go. And then we'll grab the other URL and we'll go over here and we'll change inside the quotations. Sorry, I have a little cold. That's why if I sound weird, that's why. 1 shoe. Okay, cool. And then we will also just build out the rest of this really quickly. So the rest of it's pretty straightforward. It's just like got the heading and the kind of category, got the ratings, and then the price, and then this button also appears. So I'll just quickly do that, and then you'll see in a second. Okay, so here you see I have an image container that contains both of our image, so we can put a relative on this, and then absolute position relative on the image container, and then do a position absolute on the images to get them to overlap. Then we just have a standard H2. It could be H3, depends on what the hierarchy is with the rest of it. Since it's just a component, I'm putting an H2. We have a material container, which I'm going to make display flex, which is just going to have black, and then the pipe, and then the canvas. And then the rating container is going to have these stars and then the reviews. And the reason I put them both in the same thing, I'm going to use flex and then I'm going to have them wrap, because when the screen gets bigger, they are on one line, I believe. Let's zoom out real quick. Yeah, see, they go to one line if the component's bigger. So that's why I put them in the same container. And then we have our price container, which is literally just the price. And then we have our button at the bottom. So let's go ahead. I haven't even looked at this yet. Let's try and let's start a live server real quick. Server. And we'll pull it in, and here we go. Cool. All right, we got our starting component, which is nice. I can get rid of this now. Get rid of that. Actually, I kind of want to keep the original, I think, just to make sure everything looks correct. But let's do some of the basic stuff I was just talking about. First off, we got to link our style sheet. So I'm going to say link CSS, and then I'm actually also going to grab normalize.css. I'll go back here, and then I'll actually create normalize.css. Normalize.css, paste all that in. We'll go back and start up live server, get rid of that, go back to HTML, import normalize CSS, and you see it got rid of a lot of this stuff there for us. Oh, real quick, I'm going to do class equals. I'm going to do a reset on the body real quick. Body, and then we'll just do a font. I just want to change the font from the serif to sans serif because that's how it is on the original site. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that so we can compare these A/B here. So you see it's a sans serif font. So font family, let's go Arial, Helvetica, why not? Just try that. It's probably not the exact font they're using, but it's closer enough because it's sans serif at least. It's a little bit closer. Not close enough necessarily, but a little bit closer. Okay, so we have our container. And in here, I'm just going to position it inside the body. So we'll say height 100 VH, display grid. The height 100 VH basically makes it so that the body is the size of the viewport as opposed to only being the size of the content. And then the display grid makes a display grid in which we can just do place items center, and that'll just place it all in the very center. It'll fix once we move these images. That's why it's kind of offset here, but once I change these images to be overlapping, it'll be fine. Okay, so now let's do that real quick just to get it looking better. Image container is going to be a position relative, and then the things inside of image container is going to be, I'm going to have an image, and then I'm going to have a, so the image tag is going to make sure, or the image class is going to make sure they're the same size. I would do better names for this too if it was an actual website. I'd probably use BIM or something else, because image is such a generic class name. You wouldn't really want to use that. But then, so we have our, I got this backwards the other day, so let's double check it. So it's the single shoe is the non-hover shoe, and then the hover shoe is the two shoes. So we have, so the two shoes is the hover shoe. Hover image, actually, we'll do that. Okay, so we have a hover image. Let's go ahead and just do a image width 100%, height 100%, position absolute, and then we have our inset block start is 0, inset inline start is 0. Alrighty, let's take a look at that real quick. And completely missing because I don't have error here. I did this the other day. Outline, just to, sometimes when things aren't showing up, you can add an outline to it and it helps. Pixel solid red. And there we go. So it's invisible because it doesn't have any height, because it's absolutely positioned. Nothing's giving it that height, or that intrinsic height. It's not deciding it. So what we can do though is we can put an aspect ratio on here of 1 because they are square images. I didn't inspect it. Like, you can inspect it. You see the image is a square, 300 by 105 by 105 or 300 by 300 intrinsic size. Same for the other ones. So they are squares, so that you can have a 1:1 ratio on them. Aspect ratio 1:1. Is that how you do it? Let's see here. Oh no, I need to put that on the image container, I think. Aspect ratio 1. There we go. Cool. All right, let's get rid of this. We'll keep the outline for now. Why not? Okay, so we have that, and then we have this. So we have, let's look at our source real quick. So we have the two shoes underneath the one shoe. So if we want to recreate, we can pop that one down to the bottom. Now it's on top of the other image. And then we can change our hover image to opacity. And then this was actually cool. I did this yesterday. It's a good use of CSS variables, is the hover opacity. And then up top, we can set that to 0. Opacity is 0. That's not, I gotta add the, here we go. Hover opacity 0. And then on container hover, we change the hover opacity to 1. And that way it changes right on hover, just like that, magic. And then what we can do for our view button, because we want that to be gone too until we hover, is that we can do that also with our view button, and we can change the opacity those aren't the right type of brackets. Alrighty. Now it shows up. And all we really have to do to get the effect completely, other than just like, you know, this random positioning, these S's here, I just put as placeholders for the stars because I didn't feel like looking up the icon. But it's the same concept. You just put the icons in there. If you wanted to make it dynamic, you'd have to use like React or JavaScript to sort of decide if it wants to render in solid star icons or an empty icon or empty star icon or a half star icon or something, depending on the rating. But that's beyond the scope of this video. I just wanted to get the cool shoe hover effect here. So we have our opacity there, and then all we have to do, I believe, is so we have a hover image there. And then can I put a transform on the container? Transform, opacity, 0.3 seconds, ease in, out. And that didn't work at all. What we can do though, let's do it on the image. Paste it on there. Still not doing anything. Am I running my, okay. Transform. Oh, it's not transform, it's transition. That happens all the time. Transition. Now it fades in and out. Cool. All right. And then let's see if I move this back up. If I was right the first time, I'm trying to do it on the container hover. Let's see. No, that doesn't work. It doesn't, I don't think transitions inherit, which might be a good thing. All right. So we have our image. Hover image, and then our view button both have the transition. Cool, cool. And then what we could do, actually, if we wanted to, we could change the transition time and use that variable for that also, so we could kind of control it from up top. The other thing, one last thing before I don't want to bother with the, I mean, it's Flexbox. You guys can look up, I have Flexbox videos, but one thing, we'll try and do the same thing with these, the colors here of the text, because that also turns red. So let's go ahead and we will get rid of the outline for now. And then on hover, I want the heading, the material, and the price to turn red. So here we can go to text color is text color is black, and so now we have our heading, which instead of creating class, I'm just going to, for the sake of saving time in this video, I'm just going to say heading, the H2 is the color of text color. Actually, I'm also going to do this. I'm going to say var. No, I'm going to make it black. I'm going to set it to something. I'm going to set this to text color or black, just to have a fallback in case for whatever reason it breaks. Although that seems kind of redundant because I'm setting it up here, but maybe I'm being a little too cautious, but whatever. Okay, so we have H2 is set to text color. We need to have our view button. No, not that, but we do need our, what do we call these? We have our material container in our rating container. In fact, but it's not the, okay, the rating container actually doesn't change colors. So the rating container stays the same, but the price container doesn't. So let's go with, what do I call it? Material container, material container. And then we'll also just loop in the price container. And the reason we can do this is because font rules are inherited for the most part. So we can just actually set the, we can just do it all up here actually. Or I can just, let's look here. Yeah, actually I could just extend this. This is some messy CSS here, but I hope the concept sticks. That's the whole point, is the concept of the how to do it with the images and just, the positioning and all that stuff and using these variables. Price container, material container. Alrighty, and then we go there, we go here. Cool. And then I actually need to, on hover, I'm going to say hover text is red. I even call it that, now I call it text color. I should call it hover text though. Text color, pretty generic, but whatever. Okay, so we got the black canvas there. The price is not working, and neither is the heading. So let's take a look real quick. Which means I probably didn't spell these right. That's usually the culprit. Material. Yeah, we'll do this because I'm lazy. Oops, yank inside quotations. Print. Undo that. Print. Material. Another word. Oh, maybe that's why. Okay, let's try this again. So we have an H2, our price container, and our material container. Am I spelling price? I thought I was spelling price container correctly. Price container, material container. All right, let's try this now. There we go, cool. All right, it's not the exact shade of red that it is on the official website, but you get the idea. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it was helpful. Hope you learned some concepts. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye.